You know, there was rumors back, about a month ago that Halo Infinite could possibly launch with just the or without multiplayer. That would come later. And people were like, no way that could happen. No way they're going to entertain that. And then 343 even came out and said, yo, this ain't true. That ain't true. All right. We ain't doing that. But we do have confirmation now that that was actually being tossed around. Maybe not the multiplayer thing. We might have got multiplayer first and no campaign, you know, or maybe no Forge again, and had that in a later, you know, they talked about segmenting the release of Halo Infinite with Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer confirmed this himself. He said,
the article was just written like today.
Yeah.
The day of we're recording, it said like August 13th.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so he was on, he was like on a stream or something, and they were asking him questions. He said, I know it's a bummer that Halo Infinite got delayed. I know it's disappointing to people. It's disappointing to us. We're looking forward to the alignment of Halo and the Series X as a seminal moment for Xbox, looking back to the launch of the original Xbox and Halo CE. He said he wanted to be transparent about the decision as early as possible. And, you know, it wasn't his favorite thing to do, basically, he said. He also said that that him and Bonnie Ross, the head of 343 Studios, or 343 Industries, had a talk, as well as Matt Booty, the best name in gaming, about potentially shipping the game in separate pieces. They didn't really elaborate much as to what those separate pieces were, but like I said, you put those pieces together from other rumors earlier, and it sounds like it could have been without multiplayer. And he said, quote, that it just didn't feel to all of us like the Halo release that we would want, end quote. So I'm glad they didn't do that. That would have been a huge mistake, dude. Like, if you could have,
like 6 months later, you got multiplayer. Like, what?
Would have been the biggest mistake they could have made for Infinite. It would have killed.
Yeah.
I mean, and that rumor's been going around for a long time, dude. The free-to-play rumor for Halo Infinite's multiplayer was going around years ago, and that it could launch separately. That was going around with it years ago, and I didn't believe either at the time. I was like, no way. But it was a good discussion point, and now we have confirmation that that was true. Microsoft considered it, and props to them once again for shutting that down and be like, yeah, it's probably not the best idea. We need to have a full package at launch, which is something we've both been talking about for a while now.
I'm guessing it's probably like some just like, you know, like, well, we gotta get something, you know, and so then like they're probably had some discussions probably from Microsoft down to like 343, and 343 was going like, so could we like release like a portion of Infinite and then release another portion later? That's probably how that leak got out, because when Brad Sams made that leak saying that Infinite's like I releases multiplayer, then Sketch shot that down. Brad Sams was like, well, this is what I heard from my insider, and he's pretty credible. And then later on, and just like a couple weeks later, we find out like, oh yeah, they actually were talking about possibly releasing the game in parts. So actually, Brad Sams' reporting was accurate.
Right? And
maybe I'm saying maybe at the time Sketch denied it, Sketch was right. But
I mean, he's still true. I mean, it's still true. They're not doing that.
They're both right.
Yeah,
they're both right.
Yeah, Brad Sams heard rumblings that hey, from his source that hey, they're considering doing this, so he reported it. That's what insiders do. They report on what they hear from their trusted sources, not everything they hear. Yeah. And then Sketch was like, no, actually, we're not doing that, which is true. They're not doing that. They're delaying the game now. So it was definitely, they talked about that. They considered that. That is from Phil Spencer himself. Now I 100% believe it because Phil freaking Spencer said it. Yeah, so the people, there's a lot of people on Twitter saying you got to be an idiot to think that Halo would even think about doing that. Well, they did. They did think about doing that.
They did.
Yeah. And it got, it was more than just, hey, Phil, you think we should ship the game in separate pieces? No, it was more than just a phone call. I think they honestly, seriously considered this because Xbox needed something to go with the Series X. And Halo Infinite and Series X, like Phil Spencer said in this article, have been synonymous with each other the whole time since the game was announced. That this is the game you want to play on your new system from Xbox. And they were looking to get something out there. So, Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was quite interesting.
And I can understand that too. I mean, out of all the games that are going to be coming to the Xbox, Halo is the most anticipated one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's its flagship franchise still to this day.
Have your console seller not be there on day one hurts the console.
Yeah,
but absolutely. Again, like I said, like we said earlier, like I applaud Microsoft and 343 recognizing that you just can't release this game unfinished. We've dealt with poor last 2 games have been poor launches. We've on the Xbox One we only had, well, I guess you count Halo Wars 2. We've had 3 Halo launches.
Yeah,
and 2 of those were not good launches.
Right.
And so, and yeah, like again, like I think I mentioned this previously as well, that like Halo is kind of coming from like an underdog position.
Yeah.
So they need to kind of overwhelm people with so many awesome options that they have. They're like, I'd be dumb not to play this, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's just, I know that Brad Sams was not quite happy about being called out by 343 right there.
Oh,
he's like,
sure
this is what and then later on, it turns out, yeah, he was right.
Right.
The whole time. Yeah, he was right about that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't going to happen, but they were in talks about it.
Right.
But he kind of stated it as that's what's going to happen.
Right.
Where Sketch is like, that's not happening. Yeah. So I think maybe if he rephrased it differently, but if, you know, not
it could, but I mean,
but it messes with like his credibility, especially.
It does. It definitely messes with his credibility. But at the same time, maybe he heard that it was happening, and that, you know, like we said, we don't know how far these talks got. And then when Sketch said, "No, that ain't happening," they could have literally just been like, "You know what? No, maybe the delay was decided right then and there. Like, you know what? Yeah. When they saw people, how they reacted to that news of Halo Infinite launching without multiplayer in the community, they could have been like, all right, no, we can't do that. I think it's time to delay the game and ship it as a full package." And, you know, so yeah, it goes both ways. Like the guy's just, you know, he definitely lost credibility. I lost, you know, like I'm like, dude, I'm never believing anything Brad Sam says again. never again. I'm never gonna even talk about it. You know, I'm not even gonna give my opinion on it, because I was literally making the video when Sketch came out and said, no truth to that. And I was like, all right, it's like delete video. Don't gotta render this. Don't gotta find my tags and stuff, whatever. But it's a good discussion point, because I thought that would have been a huge mistake. So I am really glad that it didn't happen.